Welcome to CBS Saturday Morning. I'm Jeff Glor with Michelle Miller and belated birthday girl, Dana Jacobson. Happy birthday.
Thank
DJ.
you.
Happy.
Thank you.
And again, a year-long celebration.
We are celebrating all year long.
You just roll
Everyone.
Right into the next birthday.
Why not?
I love it.
Thank you.
Coming up this hour, mining a rich vein of humor. You may not know his name, but author, humorist, and comedy writer Simon Rich has found endless ways to make us laugh, from his work on SNL and The Simpsons to his books and essays. We will meet him and see physical proof that he's living out his childhood dreams.
Plus, it is one of the world's favorite foods, certainly mine. But what makes some pizza rise above the rest? We'll get a lesson in how to make the perfect pie from chef and author Dan Richer.
And later, the American buffalo was saved after hunting nearly drove the animal to extinction. But that was just the beginning. We'll take you to Montana, where Native Americans are continuing the effort to restore herds of these majestic creatures to their lands. That's ahead. But first up this hour, a special report ahead of next week's observance of Veterans Day. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is one of the nation's most treasured and sacred sites. This year marks its 100th anniversary and an extraordinary departure from tradition. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge reports from Arlington, Virginia.
In the sacred grounds of Arlington National Cemetery, a white tomb rises above the rest, bearing this inscription: "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God."
What makes the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier so powerful?
For some families, this is the only grave that they had to visit back in the 20s, but even still today.
It's really an incredible place, right?
On this crisp autumn day, our guide is the cemetery's historian, Allison Finkelstein. This Veterans Day marks the memorial's 100th anniversary as a place of deep respect.
America has changed the ways that it remembers the war dead, from thinking about that grave as connected to World War I to now thinking about it as representing all of our nation's fallen throughout time.
Next week, an honor reserved for presidents will be available to all.
The first time in decades that the public will be able to walk out on the plaza.
Gerald Lowe, who coordinates major events at the cemetery, said there is no charge, but online reservations are required for November 9th and 10th, when history gets personal.
When we've seen the president in the past place the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, that's the same location where the public will be able to place flowers at the tomb.
So there's a real intimacy.
Absolutely. An intimacy not only for your everyday American, the American public, but anyone from around the world.
After World War I, the remains of 4 unknown service members were exhumed from 4 American cemeteries in France.
The U.S. Army went to extreme lengths to ensure that the unknown buried here in the tomb was truly one that could never be identified.
A highly decorated soldier made the selection.
On October 24th, 1921, Sergeant Edward F. Younger used a spray of white roses to indicate his choice.
And why is it so important that the unknown can never be identified?
They really wanted to make sure that anybody could connect with that soldier, and that he could have been of any race, any religion. He could have been born in the U.S., or he could have been a recent immigrant.
Crowds swelled the streets of France as the casket made its way to the USS Olympia for the transatlantic crossing to Washington, D.C., where the remains lay in state at the U.S. Capitol.
They actually opened the rotunda up to the public, and over 90,000 people came to pay their respects.
And like today, in 1921, the nation was tested, not only by armed conflict, but reeling from the 1918 Spanish flu.
The summer of 1919, there was a lot of unrest across the country. This was a turning point in American history in many ways.
Forward. Forward.
Finkelstein said memorials evolve, connecting and reconnecting generations through respect for service.
We hope it is a place of unity, and that's certainly how it was intended when they created it in 1921.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Catherine Herridge, Arlington National Cemetery.
So much to learn coming up coming up next week on the CBS Evening News, a special series ahead of Veterans Day. Honoring our heroes highlights the service and sacrifice of America's military.